These books were never meant to survive, burned by the Roman Church, hidden by kings. But yet, they still whisper. They still summon. Some call down angels, others, something far worse. Welcome back to High Frequency Chaos. Today we're diving down the true Grimoires of the Occult. This is part 2 of It's All Connected, and trust me, you're going to want to stay for this one. We're going to break down the most notorious grimoires ever recorded, what's inside them, who they summon, and what the consequences really are. From the Lesser Key of Solomon to the Book of Abramelin, the Red Dragon, and more. Each of these manuals aren't just rituals, they're contracts, blueprints, doorways. Not all kings wore crowns to conquer. Some wore wisdom like armor and conquered spirits. The Key of Solomon is one of the oldest and most mysterious grimoires in Western history. But the book itself is just a shadow of the man behind the legend. Solomon, the son of David, a man chosen by God, not for war, but for wisdom. In 1 Kings 3, Scripture says that the Lord gave him a wise and understanding heart, so great that rulers from distant lands came just to hear him speak. But behind the temple, behind the throne, there were things whispered in private scrolls. Legends say Solomon received the ability to control demons, not through arrogance, but through divine authority.
Of Solomon, and he basically gets this ring from God that allows him to control all the demons, and the demons have all these different abilities and stuff, and he ends up convincing one of them, like, hey, I gotta build this temple, I'm not allowed to use iron or anything to cut it.
Yeah, God is like, I need you to build my temple, and you may not use iron on any of the stone.
So he convinces this demon to tell him where the secret tool is or whatever, and it's out in the middle of the desert, and it's, there's this weird story about a bird that is protecting it, and the way to get the tool from the bird is you trick the bird into thinking its nest is being attacked, and then it uses the shamir, and then you can grab it. It's essentially something like that. It's a really strange story.
Yeah.
According to Jewish law and mystical texts like the Testament of Solomon, the king wore a magical ring, engraved with the seal of God. With it, he could bind and command spirits, even the fallen ones. He ordered them to build the temple of the Lord, not for destruction, not for vanity, although some may argue it was for vanity, but for something holy. And this idea, the idea that demons could be used to serve divine purpose, became the seed for the Key of Solomon. As for the book itself, the grimoire that bears his name isn't just spells and diagrams. It's an instruction manual. How to create protective circles, how to purify yourselves with incense, sage, fasting, and prayer, how to call upon angels like Michael, Raphael, and Anael, and how to bind spirits, not to entertain them, but to restrain them. The text warns, let the operator be pure, chaste, and prepared. For if he is not, let him fear the wrath of the spirits. Because not all magic is equal. Some scholars say that this grimoire is white magic, that it's about light, not darkness. But the truth is far more complicated. When a man steps into spiritual realm without covering, even with good intentions, he becomes vulnerable. The book may offer tools, but without the Spirit of God, those tools becomes traps. As far as the angels mentioned, the key calls on Michael, the archangel of protection, Raphael, the healer. A nail, associated with love and Venus. And Zadkiel, the angel of mercy. Their names are holy, but calling them without holiness invites something else. In the 1600s, grimoires like this circulated, and copies were handwritten, guarded, and hidden. But over the centuries, some tried to use it without reverence. They didn't purify, they didn't fast, they summoned, and they ultimately paid the price. One man in 1722 was found raving in the streets, covered in ash, claiming he had a bound voice in his head. His copy of the key was burned. But others claimed miracles, protection from death and war, hidden knowledge, and divine favor. So who's lying? Are they all telling parts of the truth? Now there's a message in this grimoire that says, to whom much is given, much is required. Now this ain't with great power comes great responsibility kind of thing. No, this is far more in detailed and in depth of what could happen to you if you dive into this grimoire without proper knowledge. The Key of Solomon is not a toy. It's not a fantasy spellbook for TikTok aesthetics. It's a sacred, dangerous, and precise book. And like all the spiritual tools, it reveals the heart of the one who uses it. Not all rulers wore crowns of gold. Some wear shadows. The Lesser Key of Solomon is perhaps the most feared grimoire ever created. But inside its pages is a structure, a system. Not random evil, but organized intelligence. Scholars trace its structure to the 17th century, but its contents are much older. Some say it came from the fragments of Solomon's original teachings. Others believe it was dictated by fallen spirits, revealed to sorcerers as a mockery of divine order. Either way, the book begins with names, ranks, sigils, seals, and domains. The Ars Goetia lists 72 demons, not as chaotic monsters, but as rulers, each with armies under their command, each with ancient knowledge, temptation, and tactics. They have titles. They have crowns. These aren't trickster spirits. These are governors of hell's hierarchy. The 9 orders of spirits. According to text, these spirits are ranked like military officers. Kings, dukes, princes, marquises, presidents, counts, earls, knights, and spirits with no rank, but just as dangerous.
And also known as Lemegeton, is a 17th century grimoire that compiles earlier traditions of demonology and magic attributed to King Solomon. It's made up of 5 books. The 5 books are Ars Goetia, Ars Theurgia Goetia, Ars Paulina, Ars Almadel, and Ars Notoria. The text gives you all the info you need to summon and control demons and other spirits for all kinds of purposes, including getting knowledge and power. The Lesser Key of Solomon has been a big deal in Western occult traditions. It's a blend of Jewish, Christian, and ancient Mesopotamian magical practices. It's been a big part of the development of ceremonial magic and is still a foundational text for modern occultists and magicians. It has contributed to the esoteric tradition of the Western world. The Lesser Key of Solomon can be dangerous because it focuses on summoning demons. If you don't use these rituals properly, you could end up with some pretty bad psychological and spiritual problems, including mental health issues and things that go wrong with the supernatural. Another thing to watch out for is that trying to control these entities can make you feel like you're above it all, which can lead to ethical and spiritual problems.
They say the key of Solomon holds the secrets to unimaginable power. But hidden within its pages are rituals so horrifying they can rip apart your soul and summon the darkest entities known to man. Do you dare to discover the true cost of forbidden knowledge? The Key of Solomon, an ancient and cursed grimoire, promises power but delivers terror. Its pages are filled with rituals to summon demons and control spirits, requiring horrifying sacrifices. One spell demands a circle drawn with the ashes of the dead, candles made from human fat, and midnight chants to call forth a demon. Another ritual to gain forbidden knowledge requires the eyes of a raven, the heart of a stillborn child, and the summoner's blood. Those who dare to use the book find themselves haunted. Shadows move on their own, whispers fill the air, and the spirits demand ever more gruesome offerings. The price of power is your soul, as the spirits drive you mad with their incessant dark whispers.
Croatia is, interestingly, a collection of 72 demonic spirits. How to summon them, exorcise them, and how to protect yourself. There's a lovely little ring that you can use to protect your face from the burning embers. This is specifically what it says, the magic ring or disc of Solomon. The figure whereof is to be made of gold or silver. It is to be held before the face of the exorcist, to preserve him from the stinking sulphurous fumes and flaming breath of the evil spirits. We've got tic-tacs and rennies for that today. Now, this collection of demons, you'll notice, is 72 demons, interestingly enough. It was likely taken from the Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonum by Johann Weyer. However, there are certain errors present in the Goetia which aren't present in the Pseudo-Monarchia, so it is quite likely that this book may not have even been formulated originally until about 1584. Now, once again, whereas the Pseudo-Monarchia has 69 demons and the Ars Goetia has 72, there are demons added. I believe there's about 4 demons that have been added and 1 demon that's been removed.
President Oz, revealer of inner truth. The demon Oz is a fallen angel, and 57th of the 72 spirits of Solomon. Oz is a president in hell, who appears first as leopard and then as a human. He teaches all liberal sciences and gives true answers to questions about divine and secret things. He can change people into any shape desired by the magician. The victims will not know they have been changed. President Oz, he commands 30 legions of demons. According to Johann Weyer, Oz also will make people insane and delusional, so that they will believe they are kings and such. The delusions only last for an hour. And this is his seal. Powerful Duke Grimoire loves manifestator. The demon Grimoire, also named Gomer, is a fallen angel, and 56th of the 72 spirits of Solomon. Grimoire is a powerful duke in hell with 26 legions of demons. He appears as a beautiful woman with the crown of a duchess, who rides a camel. He discovers hidden treasures and gives true answers about the past, present, and future. He procures the love of women, especially girls, but also old women. And this is his seal. And we'll see you in the next video. Until next time. Indy Plantz's 1813 dictionary, Ukobok or Eurobok, is described as a demon of an inferior order. He's shown with a flaming or red body, large eyes and ears, and often a palm full of coals or a hot poker. He's said to be the inventor of fireworks and the art of frying foods. He's charged by Beelzebub to maintain the oil in the infernal boilers, which is made of the blood of the damned, forged in the west where the sun sets.
Their purpose is not chaos, it's deception. These spirits do not scream, they whisper. They offer power in exchange for authority, such as knowledge, sex, music, influence, whatever it takes to corrupt you. In the spiritual realm, permission is everything. But once you invite them in, even through curiosity, they gain access. Remember, demons do not barge in. They wait to be called.
How to summon Clonic? But no, he always comes to collect. Clonic is one of the most sought-after spirits for wealth, success, and financial power. His name appears in ancient grimoires to summon him. You'll need a coin from your own bloodline, something passed down, something that remembers. You'll also need a black feather, a green candle, and his sigil drawn on parchment soaked in cinnamon and ash. The ritual must be done on a Thursday, under a waxing moon, and in absolute silence. Not just the room, you must not speak until he answers. Place the coin and the feather on the sigil. Light the candle and stare into the flame until your vision blurs. Then think, not speak, of what you want. A number, a goal, a desperate need. If the candle flares blue or the feather shifts without wind, Clonic is present. But here's what makes this spirit so dangerous. He doesn't take payment up front. He gives first. And that's how he binds you. The money may come easily, a business deal, a sudden opportunity, someone else's misfortune turned into your gain. But the hunger follows fast. You'll start to feel watched every time you spend. You'll start dreaming of ledgers and locks, of debts owed that don't appear on paper. Some say you'll hear coins clinking behind you when you're alone. Others see cracks appear in mirrors, not glass, but something deeper. Clonic doesn't just want gratitude, he wants loyalty. He wants you to serve the currency that called him. And if you try to walk away, that's when you start losing things that can't be bought back.
How to call upon Oribus, the truth-bound spirit, but only if you can handle the answers. Oribus is unlike many of the spirits from the Ars Goetia. He does not deceive. He does not twist your words or feed on your fear. He tells the truth, cold, direct, and without mercy. But that doesn't mean he's safe, because some truths undo people. To summon him, you must do so with clarity. This isn't a ritual for the curious, it's for those who need answers, real ones. Choose a quiet place, one where you can hear your own heartbeat. At precisely 4 a.m., the hour of revelation, light a white candle and draw Oribus's sigil in chalk or ash. Sit cross-legged and place your hands on the floor, palms down. This is a sign of humility. You are not commanding, you are requesting. Say aloud, Oribus, rider between truths, loyal spirit who does not lie. If you hear me, I ask not for illusion, but for what is. Show me what hides in plain sight. Some feel warmth at the base of the spine. Others hear hoofbeats in the distance. If the flame begins to move without wind, he is present. You may now ask your question, but ask once, and only once. Oribus respects the focused mind. His answers come as thoughts not your own, sudden realizations, or dreams that make more sense the next day. You won't always like what you hear, but it will be true.
There are many testimonies, some on TikTok, some in obscure forums, of people who invoked goetic spirits. Most say nothing happened at first. Then the nightmare started. The whispers, accidents, and overwhelming dread. One woman claimed she summoned Paimon to help her with her music career. Her voice improved significantly, but she lost her ability to sleep for months. Paimon, the most famous spirit today. Paimon is king number 9 in the Goetia. He governs influence, music, and manipulation. You've seen him in horror films, but that's just surface level. The real Paimon is called the obedient king of magicians. He rides a camel preceded by trumpets and speaks with an unnatural voice. And once invited, he's hard to silence. The sigils for these demons are like spiritual QR codes. Every demon has a sigil, a symbol that acts like a spiritual signature. When you draw it, focus on it, or wear it, you are creating a channel. So be careful what you're wearing nowadays. You never know what demon you're rocking. You are saying, I acknowledge your presence, and that is often enough. The Lesser Key of Solomon shows us something deeper, that even hell imitates heaven. Just like there are choirs of angels, there are orders of demons. Just like God has archangels, the enemy has crowned kings. They mimic the structure because they once knew it. These are fallen authorities, not figments of imagination. And their goal isn't chaos, it's submission. Not every grimoire summons demons. Some teach you how to conquer them. The Book of Abramelin isn't about chaos or blood. It's about order, divine order. Through discipline, purification, and a relentless pursuit of your true spiritual authority.
Have you heard of the Book of Abramelin? This ancient grimoire is one of the most powerful occult texts, teaching you how to summon your holy guardian angel and communicate with spirits. Written in the 14th century, it's said the book holds the key to divine knowledge through a rigorous 6-month ritual of prayer, fasting, and isolation. Imagine unlocking hidden secrets from angels and spirits. Even Aleister Crowley attempted this powerful ritual, but the process is not for the faint-hearted.
Book of Abramelin, also known as the Book of the Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage, is a Hebrew grimoire that claims to have been written by Abraham von Worms, a 14th or 15th century German Jew. The book says it's about Abraham's meeting with an Egyptian magician named Abramelin, who gave him a special magical system for getting divine wisdom and knowledge. The main focus of these teachings is a lengthy ritual called Operation, which lasts 18 months. Practitioners are expected to fast, pray, and live a chaste life to call on their guardian angels and gain magical knowledge and power. The second part of the book includes magical formulas, spells, and a list of entities that can be summoned to help with various worldly matters. The book also includes instructions for making talismans and amulets, which are considered to have great power if made properly. The Book of Abramelin first made its way into the Western world through a translation by Samuel Liddell MacGregor Mathers in the late 19th century. He was also one of the founders of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which was a pretty influential occult organization. The grimoire is the foundation for many modern magical practices, but its rigorous and lengthy ritual execution makes it only for those who are truly dedicated to learning it.
In the 15th century by a mystic named Abraham for his son Lamech, the Book of the Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage was intended to pass down the secrets of controlling one's own personal demon, a shadowy entity believed to haunt every soul. In 1900, its translation into English unleashed something far more sinister than wisdom. The book quickly gained a reputation, not for its promises of power, but for the dark curse that clung to its pages. Readers who dared to delve into its intricate rituals were said to awaken spirits from another realm, summoning forces far beyond their control. Symbols and magic words etched into grids could unlock supernatural abilities, but the price for such knowledge was steep, terrifying hauntings, and the promise of ruin for anyone reckless enough to keep the book in their possession. Those unfortunate enough to come into contact with the book found themselves tormented by relentless otherworldly entities. Shadows moved where there should be none. Whispers filled the silence, and the air grew thick with an invisible presence. Its victims reported an escalating series of disasters, financial ruin, inexplicable illnesses, and unrelenting fear. The wraths of the spirits seemed inevitable, their vengeance swift and brutal, ultimately leading to the demise of anyone who dared possess the cursed manuscript. What was once a guide to mastering dark arts became a gateway to madness, leaving behind a trail of shattered lives and eerie legend.
The legend of Abraham, the Mage. In the 14th century, a Jewish mystic named Abraham of Worms documented a sacred ritual he learned during his travels in Egypt. He claimed to have met a priest named Abramelin, who taught him a system not for summoning spirits, but for mastering them. The book he wrote is not short, and it's not easy, and it's certainly not a quick fix. But if done right, it leads to the manifestation of your holy guardian angel, the divine being assigned to you before birth. But first, there's a purification process, and this isn't spellcasting, it's sanctification. You must begin a process that can last 6 months up to 18 months. During this time, there's no sex, no wine or intoxicants, no lies, no profanity, daily prayer, morning and night. A prayer room created just for this purpose, absolute spiritual discipline. And if you break the rules, you start over. Because this isn't just about magic, it's about becoming worthy of the divine presence. Not to grant wishes, but to reveal your calling, to guide you into true spiritual maturity. This being, once contacted, gives you power to command spirits, not by trickery, but by divine right. Once your angel's with you, the next phase begins. You will be forced to confront Lucifer, Leviathan, Satan, and Belial. Not to entertain them, not to worship them, but to bind them, to make them kneel under divine authority. This book claims, he who is in communion with his angel shall have power over all spirits, good and evil alike. Now this comes down to the Crowley controversy. Occultist Aleister Crowley was heavily inspired by this book. He referenced it often and twisted its purpose. Where Abraham taught restraint, Crowley taught indulgence. Where Abramelin pointed upward, Crowley pointed inward. This is danger. Power without surrender becomes rebellion. The Book of Abramelin teaches that real spiritual authority must be earned through obedience and endurance. This is not a book for thrill seekers. It's not a shortcut. It's a death to one old self. And in this place, something holy rises up. In an age obsessed with instant power and demonic aesthetics, the Book of Abramelin whispers something radical. Purify yourself. Know thyself. Some grimoires summon, others bind, but this one negotiates. The Grand Grimoire, also known as the Lay Dragon Rogue, is not a guidebook. It's a contract. It's a blood-soaked manual that claims to give you exact instructions for summoning Lucifer himself, or his prime minister, the dark being known as Lucifuge, Ro for Kale. And where did it come from? Its origins are cloaked in legend. Some claim it was found in the tomb of Solomon. Others say it was written in the 15th century by a defrocked monk, possessed, and was dictating it in Latin. But the copy most people reference today first surfaced in France in 1823, bound in red, heavy with ritual, and always marked with warnings. The first page reads, "Only the initiated shall proceed. The profane will find death." So who is Lucifuge, Rofacal? He's not Lucifer, but his left hand. Lucifuge is known as the minister of hell's treasury, keeper of forbidden knowledge and earthly wealth. His name means he who flees the light. He is said to speak rarely and only summon through precise, risky rituals. His demands: a pact, a legal spiritual agreement, usually involving your soul, your service, and blood offerings. The ritual backfires, and he takes away. And he does this for the lure of power. And what do people ask for? Well, it's simple, right? Fame, money, protection, beauty, control. And what does Lucifuge ask in return? Obedience, service, offerings, rituals, and devotion. Now, this is not a game, guys. This is spiritual warfare in legal form. Because demons, like lawyers, operate on loopholes. One practitioner claimed he performed the pact, and within a week he received a 6-figure inheritance. Another said his chronic illness vanished after the summoning, but both described the same side effect: a dark shadow in the room, always watching. And what proceeds next? Nightmares, sudden rage, isolation. It always starts with a blessing, but it always ends with bondage. The spirits of the Grand Grimoire. Beyond Lucifuge, the Grimoire lists his demonic officers. Santentia commands legions of female spirits and forces submission. Agale Arept, master of secrets and political manipulation. Florette spreads disease. And Sargatanas has invisibility and teleportation. And Lucifer invoked only after proven loyalty. These are not symbolic. These are authorities in hell's structure. Spiritual implications. And what does Scripture say about this? For what shall a man profit if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? Demonic pacts offer everything your flesh wants, but always cost more than you expect. Because the devil doesn't trade, he takes. Where God requires faith and strength, Lucifuge requires blood and allegiance. And once you bow, you're no longer negotiating your own. There are bucks of darkness dressed in shadows, and then there are those clothed in light, with hell written underneath. The Grimoire of Pope Honorius is one of the most blasphemous texts in occult history, not because of how dark it is, but because of how holy it pretends to be. Now, the origins, a pope, really? Let's go. This grimoire is attributed to Pope Honorius III, who served in the 13th century. But historians are divided. Some say it was complete forgery meant to mock the church. Others believe a corrupted inner circle preserved these rituals in secret. Regardless of who wrote it, the message is clear. Invoke God's name to summon demons. A paradox, a perversion. So what's inside this book? The rituals inside the Grimoire of Pope Honorius read like Catholic Mass in verse. Latin invocations using sacred names, crosses and holy water, prayers to saints, followed by direct conjurations of Beelzebub, Lucifer, and Astaroth.
Do you know about the most dangerous book in the world? Deep within the Vatican Library lies a forbidden text, the Grimoire of Pope Honorius. Written in the 13th century, supposedly by Pope Honorius III himself, the Grimoire is no ordinary prayer book. It's a manual of dark magic, detailing pacts with demons, summoning rituals and spells capable of bending reality itself. Its power was deemed so dark that only popes could handle it. Is the devil still bound within its pages, waiting to be unleashed? Instructions for conjuring demons, controlling their power, and even opening portals to hell itself are just a taste of the Grimoire's infernal secrets. But who dared to wield such power? Was it truly Pope Honorius, seeking unholy knowledge for the Church? Or perhaps a rogue sorcerer, drawn to the forbidden magic within its pages?
The Vatican's darkest secret, and it's already in motion. Deep beneath the Apostolic Palace, in a chamber sealed since the 15th century, there is a book bound in human skin. Its pages contain the true deaths of every pope in history, not as the world knows them, but as fate has decreed. The book is called Liber Mortis Pontificum, the Book of Pontifical Death. Each page darkens as a pope's reign begins, slowly filling with ink that forms an image of their demise. John Paul II's page showed a bed, wreathed in light. Others are grotesque. Pope John the 21st page depicted a collapsing ceiling long before it crushed him in 1277. Pope Francis' page has been shifting for years. At first it showed an old man in a white robe, kneeling in prayer. But in 2025, something changed. The image began to move. Now it shows Francis clutching his chest. Behind him, the Vatican collapses into the earth. At the bottom of the page, a line of text has appeared. Ultimus finis venit, the final end comes. But the true horror lies on the next page. It belongs to the 267th Pope, the last one. The page isn't blank, it's already complete. The image is a screaming figure in papal robes, half submerged in black water, as a burning city sinks beneath the waves. The date beneath it is clear: October 11th, 2026. A Vatican archivist who leaked the images claims the book is writing itself faster now, as if rushing toward an inevitable conclusion.
There's a ritual buried in the margins of a 14th century grimoire. It was never meant to be found. No title, no clear instructions, just drawings of a circle, a name, and a warning written backward. Those who've deciphered it say it's not a summoning, it's an invitation. You light 7 candles, you draw a circle with salt, and you whisper a name, not of a demon, but of an angel who was cast out. Not fallen, not evil, just forgotten. At first, nothing happens. But as the candles burn down, people report hearing wings. Not flapping, not soft, like bone dragging across stone. Some say they see a figure outside the circle, tall head bowed, eyes covered in cloth. And if you speak to it, it doesn't answer with words. It answers with memories you never lived, and a feeling you're being watched for the rest of your life. Maybe it's an angel, or maybe we just called it that because we were too scared to admit what it really is.
This book contains wisdom so profound, it was kept secret for hundreds of years. This book has been coveted by magicians and mystics, yet its true power remains a closely guarded secret. As we explore its pages, we uncover a path to divine enlightenment, but only for those pure of heart and intent.
This is the Sworn Book of Honorius, an extremely powerful grimoire that contains the combined knowledge of a large number of magicians. The book explains how to save a soul from purgatory, how to catch thieves, and even how to properly find hidden treasures. It also contains instructions on how to summon and command demons, and most importantly, it contains hidden knowledge about heaven. But
the operator is instructed to be a priest, ordained in holy office, wear investments, holding a crucifix. But the prayers, they're not prayers of deliverance. They are commands. Orders sent to hell's army, using the language of heaven. Now some of these demons named in the grimoire are to include Beelzebub. He's called Prince of the World. then is Lucifer. He's not in opposition, but as a servant of the priest's command. Astaroth. He's invoked for knowledge of the past and the future. Satan, summoned not as an enemy, but as an ally. They're all summoned using Catholic structure, but twisted to dominate and deceive. Now, why was it feared and hidden? The church, the Roman church, the false church, condemned the text, calling it heresy. Copies were burned. Possession was punishable by death. But that didn't stop it from spreading through the hands of exorcists, rogue monks, and underground musicians. It blurred the line between holy and profane, and that is always where the enemy works best. The psychological trap. This grimoire gives a dangerous message that you can wear the robe, speak the name of Christ, and still serve yourself. It's the same lie Satan whispered in the wilderness. You can have the kingdom without the cross. True power never comes through rituals. It comes through a relationship with God. The grimoire of Pope Honorius flips that truth. It teaches obedience to symbols instead of surrender to the Spirit. And even today, many churches fall into this trap. Prosperity gospel. I hate that. Alright. Performing religious routines with no real covering. Not every spirit comes from the abyss. Some fall from heaven, clothed in glory, but speak with stolen light. The sworn book of Honorius, or Liber Charatus Honori, is believed to be one of the oldest surviving grimoires in European occult tradition, written sometime between the 13th and 14th century. It doesn't focus on demons, but on angels. But that doesn't make it safe. The purpose of this book. According to legend, this book was compiled by a group of musicians and mystics who feared their knowledge would be lost or condemned by the church. So they took an oath, a sworn pact, to preserve the sacred rituals that gave humans access to heavenly realms. Its aim, not for wealth, not for power, but divine knowledge, direct visions of the celestial world, conversations with angels, the ability to glimpse into the future and unseen realms. Now let's take a look at the rituals inside. The grimoire is filled with complex prayers, invocations, and fasting regimens. Operators were required to be pure in body and spirit. But there's a tension here. The book teaches how to invoke angelic beings using sacred geometry, Latin incantations, God's ineffable names, star alignments, and planetary timing, and even the appearance of magical characters drawn from ancient alphabets. This is not a simple superstition. This is spiritual technology designed to pierce heaven's veil. The angels named in the sworn book are to include Metatron, the heavenly scribe, said to be the closest to God's throne, Raziel, keeper of divine mysteries, Uriel, the fire of God who reveals hidden truth, Stanalephon, angel of prayers, who carries them upward, Anael, Gabriel, and Michael all appear in structured invocations. The operator seeks not to control these angels, but to receive their light and divine instruction. Yet even angels must be tested. Because as scripture warns, Satan masquerades as an angel of light. The deeper danger in this book isn't just about summoning. It's seeking experience over the source. Throughout history, many mystics began with purity, but became addicted to the supernatural. They started chasing revelation more than repentance, seeking the voice of angels while ignoring the voice of God. And slowly, light turned into shadow. The sworn book isn't demonic in nature, but that doesn't mean it's holy either. Like a scalpel, it can heal or destroy, depending who holds it. Without the Holy Spirit, man's attempt to reach heaven becomes dangerous. Babel taught us that. You cannot study your way into heaven. You cannot summon your way into divine favor. Access to heaven isn't granted by geometry, names, or time. It's granted by grace. And this book, like so many others, shows man's desperate hunger for what only God gives freely. Moses parted the seas. He called down plagues. He faced down Pharaoh with nothing but a staff and faith. But what if that power was written down? What if that knowledge survived outside the Bible? The 6th and 7th books of Moses are not in the Bible. They are forbidden texts surfacing in Europe in the 18th and 19th centuries, claimed to be secret scrolls passed down from Moses himself. Scrolls that never made it into the canon because they were too powerful. The books read like a mixture of Kabbalah, Christian mysticism, and Hebrew folk magic. These books are filled with mystical tables, sealed diagrams, and angelic names arranged like a puzzle. They claim to offer command over spirits, the ability to raise storms, protection from entities and enemies, healing, divination. Each table is paired with divine names like Elohim, Adonai, and Shaddai, but often misused and misinterpreted. The operator is instructed to recite names, visualize seals, and manipulate elements to get results. Unlike other grimoires, this one didn't stay in Europe. It spread to West Africa, Caribbean, and the American South, becoming a core text in hoodoo, voodoo, Obeah, Santeria, and root work traditions.
The 6th and 7th books of Moses are 2 grimoires that are part of the Jewish and Christian magical tradition. They're said to contain magical knowledge and instructions that were given to Moses by God. The books were first published in the 18th century in Germany and quickly became famous among occult and magic practitioners. People often refer to the books as the Biblia Arcana or the magical tales of Moses. The 6th and 7th books of Moses include a variety of spells, amulets, and magical symbols that can be used to summon spirits, gain power, and achieve different goals in life. One of the most well-known elements is the magical seals that are said to be able to control the forces of nature and supernatural spirits. The book also provides instructions for creating magical tools such as wands and magical circles, which are used in different rituals. The text also talks about using sacred names and Bible verses in spells and rituals. There are some rules that practitioners have to follow to make sure they stay safe. The book says that the powers in this text were given to Moses by God and then passed down to the priests of Israel.
The 6th and 7th books of Moses are enigmatic texts surrounded by mystery and intrigue. Claimed to contain the magical secrets of the ancient biblical figure Moses, these manuscripts have captivated the imagination of scholars, occultists, and theologians alike. Often considered apocryphal, these texts are not included in the canonical Bible, leading to debates over their authenticity. They are said to reveal powerful incantations and rituals that Moses used to perform miracles and summon divine assistance. The origins of these manuscripts remain shrouded in obscurity. Some claim they were written by Moses himself, while others argue they were compiled much later, drawing from ancient Jewish mysticism and magical traditions. The content of the books reportedly includes spells, seals, and magical formulas. These were believed to grant practitioners control over spirits, elements of nature, and even celestial forces. Such claims have only heightened the aura of mystery surrounding them. Religious authorities have historically condemned the 6th and 7th books of Moses. They were often associated with forbidden knowledge, leading to their suppression and the persecution of those who studied them. Despite their controversial nature, the manuscripts found a devoted following among occultists. They were especially popular during the Renaissance, a period when esoteric knowledge experienced a resurgence in Europe. Many believers argue that the texts hold sacred knowledge passed down through the ages.
In these cultures, it became more than myth. It became a ritual, carried by the enslaved, used by the oppressed, believed to offer protection, one no one else would. So is this evil? That depends on your foundation. Because even when these books call on the name of God, they do it for control, not surrender. They seek to command heaven rather than submit to it. And that's where the danger lies. Moses never performed miracles with power. He did it in obedience for God, except that one time when he cracked the rock for water. For those who know, you know. But these books flip that. They offer spiritual results without spiritual relation. That's not faith. That's witchcraft dressed in scripture. Before Europe wrote its grimoires, the stars were already speaking. Long before the Lesser Key, before the Grand Grimoire, there was the Picatrix, a vast Arabic manuscript said to contain the full scope of celestial magic. What is the Picatrix? Originally titled Gayat al-Hakim, the aim of sage, it was compiled in the Islamic world during the 10th and 11th century. It's not demonic, it's not Christian, it's cosmic. The Picatrix teaches how to align yourself with the stars, to craft talisman, to summon planetary spirits, and to influence reality through astral timing and attention. In the Picatrix, each planet has a ruling, spirit, or intelligence. Zahu is Saturn, authority, restriction, and death. Mashtarari, Jupiter, wealth and rulership. Utarid, Mercury, communication and deception. Kama, moon, fertility, emotion, illusion. Zurura, Venus, love and beauty. Shams, the sun, power, identity. And Marika, Mars, war, destruction, and vitality. Talismans were constructed using exact lunar phases, metallic engravings, colored inks, and sacred geometry. These weren't just spells. They were blueprints for bending the fabric of nature, wisdom, or witchcraft. The Picatrix claims to offer knowledge that empowers the soul, that teaches us to mirror the heavens and become like gods. But here's the warning. Lucifer fell from heaven trying to do the same. Spiritual power detached from spiritual obedience always spirals, whether it comes from a demon or a star.
Right here is considered to be one of the most dangerous books in history. Let me explain. The Latin name for this book is the Picatrix. However, it was originally written in Arabic, in which it is called the Ghayat al-Hakim, meaning the aim of the sage. The book is extremely detailed and explains how people can create hundreds of types of different talismans, mix potions, and summon spirits and demons. The book also includes a whole range of rituals and invocations from the Sabians, who were a group of people renowned for their magic. But be warned, summoning demons and using magic comes with a price.
key, the Bible of astrological magic.
The predominant influence and source for astrological magic in the Middle Ages and Renaissance. Everybody used this as their key source for astrological magic.
The Picatrix, one of the most important grimoires from the Middle Ages, blends alchemy, astrology, and magic. Originally written in Arabic around the 10th century, it was translated into Latin in the 13th century and spread throughout Europe, influencing many occultists. Unlike many grimoires associated with dark magic, the Picatrix frames its practices within a divine cosmology, emphasizing harmony with the cosmos. This positive aspect makes it a unique and influential text in the study of astrological and talismanic magic. It emphasizes harnessing celestial influences for magical purposes and is divided into 4 books. The Picatrix remains a significant text in contemporary esoteric practices, with modern translations making it accessible for study and practice. Its influence can still be seen in the creation of talismans and rituals based on astrological alignments. Have you read the Picatrix?
What if I told you there's a forgotten book that could reveal the secrets of living in perfect harmony with the universe? This isn't just magic, this is divine wisdom. The Arbatel of Magic is unlike any other grimoire. Written in the 16th century, it doesn't just teach how to summon spirits or command elemental forces. Instead, the Arbatel focuses on living a righteous life in harmony with divine and celestial forces. Its teachings emphasize wisdom, humility, and spiritual purity, guiding the reader on how to invoke the help of the Olympian spirits, powerful beings who govern different aspects of creation. But this isn't about power for its own sake. It's about aligning oneself with the divine plan of the universe. Could the Arbatel of Magic be the key to understanding the natural and supernatural forces that shape our world? The book offers a unique blend of magic and philosophy, stressing that those who seek to command the spirits must first live in accordance with divine law. Its message is clear. Magic is not just about control, it's about wisdom and enlightenment. For those who seek spiritual growth, the Arbatel offers a path that transcends earthly desires, leading to a deeper connection with the cosmos and the divine forces that guide it. As we explore its ancient teachings, we are reminded that true power lies not in commanding the elements, but in understanding the divine harmony of the universe and our place within it.
Alright, quick fire round. These are the lesser known grimoires. Around the same time, other books surfaced, some even stranger than the rest. Arbatel of Magic, focus on Olympic spirits, invokes entities like Bethor and Phalag, blurs the line between angelic intelligence and planetary forces. Then we got the Grimorium Verum, like the Grand Grimoire, but more brutal. Offers sigils for causing death, paralysis, and control. Liber Officium Spiritium, possibly older than the Goetia, mentions even darker spirits, with obscure names and corrupted seals. Sefer Raziel Ha-Malakah, a Jewish mystical book, said to have been given to Adam by the angel Raziel. It deals with divine names, creation, astrology, and angelic hierarchies. All of these books, Arabic, Christian, Jewish, European, come from different languages, different cultures, but they seek the same thing: control over the unseen. And that hunger is what makes them dangerous. Because man was never meant to manipulate the spirit realm. He was meant to walk in it under the authority of the Most High. What you heard tonight is real. These books exist. The spirits behind them are not symbols. They are active, intelligent, strategic. From Solomon to Lucifuge, from Moses to Metatron, each grimoire were explored and shared one thing in common. They offer knowledge. They offer power, but always at a cost. This was never just about magic. These books were not written for entertainment. They were crafted for spiritual engagement. Every seal drawn, every name uttered, every ritual performed was designed to connect the physical world to something deeper. But what kind of connection are we talking about? Not every light comes from heaven, and not every voice is divine. We're in a war, whether you want to be or not. There is a war happening around us, a war for your attention, your loyalty, your soul. These grimoires, they are playbooks for both sides. Some align with divine order, most distorted, and all of them reveal this truth. The spiritual realm is structured, intelligent, and highly aware of you. So the armor you really need, you don't need a seal from the lesser key. You don't need a talisman under your bed. You don't need something greater. You need covering. Because the real protection doesn't come from rituals. It comes from relationship. With the one who conquered all powers, principalities, and the grave. Real battle is this. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, the rulers in darkness of this world, and spiritual wickedness in high places. These books reveal the enemy's strategy, but God has already given us the victory through Christ, through truth, through surrender. Alright? If you felt this, if it stirred something up in your spirit, don't walk away empty. Share it and subscribe. And stay armored up. This is High Frequency Chaos, and the war is far from over. If you want to go deeper, I left the links to the original PDFs and the archives down below. I'm not just blowing thin air out of you. The links and the archives are down below, but use caution when you're diving down these rabbit holes, and be careful of what you're looking at and taking into the window of your soul. I need to say this clearly. I do not recommend reading or owning any of these grimoires. They may seem like history, but the spirits tied to them are still active. If you open these doors, there's a very real risk to lose yourself and those you love. If you want a community in truth instead, join the Facebook group. It's free, links in the description. Alright, stay sharp, stay prayed up. This is more than content. This is spiritual warfare. As always, stay safe, stay blessed in these dark, deceptive times. HFC signing out. Peace!